Hi, this is Joe Ziemba, the host of When Football Was Football here on the Sports History Network. Aside from my podcasting duties, I'm also a sports collector. And as such, I'm very pleased to share the exciting news that the Sports History Network has partnered with Rochester Sports Autographs, the largest JSA authenticated autograph distributor in the United States, where you can get deals on over 30,000 autograph sports collectibles. So as a collector, I was very pleased when I visited the site of Rochester Sports Autographs. The massive inventory is easy to search, carefully documented, and visually appealing. The options seem limitless, whether you're looking for an autographed baseball, signed football helmets, or basketball jerseys, among thousands of others. I found everything from a Babe Ruth autograph, a signed football by Dick Butkus, and an autographed Larry Bird basketball jersey. And as a collector, you'll be delighted with the very competitive pricing on JSA authenticated products. Made possible since RSA deals directly with athletes, so there's no extra markup, and the savings are passed on directly to the customer. Perhaps you're looking for an early gift for Mother's Day or Father's Day. Heck, who needs a holiday as an excuse to give a piece of sports history to your loved ones? Or how about yourself? Today seems like a great day to add to your own sports collection, right? RSA even has film, music, and other entertainment autographs on the site, so there's something for everyone. All orders from Rochester Sports Autographs are top quality and shipped to your door with top authentication and a money-back guarantee. And to make sure RSA knows that the Sports History Network sent you, we created a special link for you. All you need to do is head to shoprsa.com/SHN. That's shoprsa.com/SHN to get your own piece of sports history today.
Now it's time to take a sports break, a look at sports history on a daily basis. Hello, my friends in sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast. Welcome once again to the Pig Pen, your place for all things great in sports history. And welcome to another sports break as we will go through the day's events and people associated with the day of April 25th. And we have a great program lined up for you today, going for a lot of Hall of Famers and events that happen on this day. And before we do, let's make sure you are aware of our social media presence. We are on Twitter at Pigskin Dispatch. We are also have a Facebook page that is Pigskin Dispatch. Real easy to find, real easy to remember, and we love to have you come on in and visit us and give us a follow if you can. We're going to start off in the realm of football. And our Hall of Famers for today, we have two birthdays of Hall of Famers, both from the College Football Hall of Fame, although one of them might be known better for his professional experience. But let's start off with our senior man that was born on April 25th, 1927 in Hector, Minnesota. He was Minnesota's Gustavus Adolphus College tackle, Calvin Roberts. Now, with Roberts in the lineup, the Golden Gusties won 3 consecutive league titles and boasted a 23-1 regular season record per the footballfoundation.org website. The 1951 team was undefeated as Roberts won the first of his 2 All-American honors and became a 3-time All-MIAC selection. The National Football Foundation selected Calvin Roberts for entrance into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2003, and Calvin was drafted by the New York Giants, but an illness prevented him from taking on the competition at the professional level. Therefore, he was relegated to entering into the Marine Corps, where he served his country and was named to the All-Marine Corps team by playing for the El Toro Marines, and Calvin later became a line coach at Augsburg College for a short period before entering as a role as a teacher in physical education. So hats off to him and his great service to our country in the Marine Corps, and legend of his football. This next guy I think you'll be familiar with. He was born on April 25th, 1954 in Brooklyn, New York. Randy Cross, a tough interior lineman of the UCLA Bruins once upon a time. The National Football Foundation tells the tale of how Cross was a standout on the UCLA line and helped the Bruins avenge an earlier 41-20 blowout loss to the Ohio State Buckeyes. At the 1976 Rose Bowl, UCLA slipped past the top-ranked Ohio State squad in one of the largest upsets in Rose Bowl history, subsequently denying OSU their national championship aspirations. Now, we cover that quite a bit, that game, not so much from Randy Cross's standpoint, but from the UCLA standpoint. And when we had Dana Auguster on back in our celebration of Rose Bowl games, so I looked that one up, Rose Bowl 1976, and I think you'll be in for a great surprise there with some great rotation by our friend Dana Auguster. Now, he went into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2010, did Randy Cross, and after graduation, Cross was picked by the San Francisco 49ers in the 1976 NFL Draft. Randy thrived in the league for 13 years and won 3 Super Bowls with the franchise, and avoided a major injury all the way through, missed only 8 games in his professional career, propelling him to be named to an All-Pro team 3 different times, and was voted the San Francisco 49ers Man of the Year in 1985 for his work on the field and in the community. Now, we had some of the most sweeping rule changes as recorded on PigskinDispatch.com for April 25th. There was a lot of big rules that came out here in 1974, and we called this our football history headline of the day, and we got this information from newspapers.com and the Miami Herald, which on April 26, 1974, was reporting about an April 25th date. They had an article titled, "The NFL Brings in Sudden Death, Changes Rules for Field Goals." This was a tremendous article, and it talked about how Pete Rozelle and the other league owners and officials had these sweeping changes, and the first one was to move the goalposts from the goal line, where they score a touchdown at, to the end line, and also adopt the sudden death overtime for regular and exhibition games. 2 big rules that we still see today, and it's been tweaked a little bit in the overtime rules, but big rule changes nonetheless. That goalpost was humongous. Just ask any field goal kicker. On April 25th, 1993, the NFL draft took place, and the New England Patriots used the first overall selection of the draft to take Washington State quarterback Drew Bledsoe. The Hall of Fame players that have so far come out of this draft class were tackle Willie Roaf, who was number 8 pick by the New Orleans Saints, running back Jerome Bettis, the 19th overall selection by the St. Louis Rams, and later went on to win a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Michael Strahan, a defensive lineman taken by the New York Giants with the 40th pick, Will Shields, a guard selected by the Kansas City Chiefs at pick number 74, and the steal of the weekend may have been John Lynch, another future Hall of Famer, as a defensive back that was chosen by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the 82nd overall selection in the draft per the ProFootballReference.com. We also had a draft in 2009, an NFL draft. Georgia quarterback Matthew Stafford was the first pick by the Detroit Lions, according to the ProFootballReference.com website. And here's how the top 10 went. It was Stafford to Detroit. St. Louis chose Jason Smith, the tackle from Baylor. Kansas City Chiefs took Tyson Jackson, defensive end of LSU. Seattle took Aaron Curry, a linebacker from Wake Forest. Mark Sanchez, a quarterback at USC, was taken by the New York Jets. Andre Smith, a tackle from Alabama, was taken by the Cincinnati Bengals. The Oakland Raiders took Darius Hayward-Bay, a wide receiver from Maryland, in a surprise. The Jacksonville Jaguars had Eugene Monroe, a tackle from Virginia, on their roster that day. The Green Bay Packers took B.J. Raji, a defensive tackle from Boston College. And the San Francisco 49ers selected Michael Crabtree, wide receiver from Texas Tech. 2013's draft also took place. And in that draft class, Central Michigan's offensive tackle Eric Fisher was the first pick by the Kansas City Chiefs, and other NFL players had been on argue who was maybe the best draft class and maybe the worst draft class in modern history. They both had differing opinions here. The rest of the draft class, top 10 picks from this draft, were Luke Jokel, tackle from Texas Tech, to Jacksonville. Deion Jordan, defensive end from Oregon, to Miami Dolphins. The Eagles took Lane Johnson, tackle from Oklahoma. And Detroit took Ezekiel Ansah, defensive end from BYU. Marcavius Mingo, a linebacker from LSU, was selected by the Cleveland Browns. The Arizona Cardinals took Jonathan Cooper, the guard from North Carolina. St. Louis took Tavon Austin, the wide receiver from West Virginia, and the New York Jets took D. Milner, defensive back, Alabama, while the Tennessee Titans chose guard Chance Warmack. In 2019, another draft took place. Oklahoma quarterback Kyler Murray was the number 1 pick by the Cardinals. And again, we used the informative ProFootballReference.com to generate this draft class top 10 choices. Along with Murray was Nick Bosa, defensive end out of Ohio State, went to the 49ers. Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle from Alabama, New York Jets. Oakland took Kyle Farrell, defensive end from Clemson. Devin White, linebacker from LSU, went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Daniel Jones, quarterback from Duke, went to the Giants. Jacksonville chose Josh Allen, linebacker out of Kentucky. The Detroit Lions took T.J. Hawkinson, tight end from Iowa. And Buffalo selected Ed Oliver, defensive tackle from Houston. And Pittsburgh traded up from their spot to select Devin Bush Jr., linebacker from Michigan. So that is just some great drafts that we had here, and we'll see how some of these players play out in the 2019 and 2013 drafts. Too early for them to be considered for the Hall of Fame. We might get some out of there. You never know. And now we want to move over to the realm of other sports, including baseball. And April 25th, 1901, Irv Beck of the Cleveland Blues hit the American League's very first home run. So there's a trivia question answer for you. Irv Beck, Cleveland Blues. And April 25th, 1933, the Philadelphia Phillies shortstop Dick Bartell, number 2, was on his jersey, is the first Major League Baseball player to get 4 consecutive doubles in a 9-inning game. On April 25th, 1933, the left-handed New York Yankees ace pitcher Russ Van Otta, number 14 on his shirt, shut out the Washington Senators 16-0 with some great pitching and timely hitting by his teammates, obviously. And we love to go and visit some of these great sites, and one of them for baseball is Jay Daniel and his 80sbaseball.com site, and he has some tremendous birthdays that happened on April 25th throughout history, but that played in the 1980s. But he also has some other great things. A debut on April 25th, 1981, Scott Fletcher went 1 for 4 with a single off of Sparky Lyle on his debut. And in 1987, on the 25th of April, it was a big Cardinals lefty named Joe McGrain that strikes out 7 and gets the win in his big league debut. Also, Bill Bean collects 4 hits in his Major League debut in 1987 on the 25th. And we also had another great one. Chris Hoyt's 1989 was his first day. Went 0-for-1 as a pinch hitter for Baltimore Orioles in first day in the big leagues. Also in this day, April 25th, 1980, a Twins fan throws marshmallows at manager Billy Martin. He wasn't very happy about that. A year later, in 1981, Major League Baseball suspended Mariners manager Maury Willis for 2 games for ordering the grounds crew at the Kingdom to enlarge the batter's boxes. That's a big no-no. Might have been better off throwing marshmallows at Billy Martin. On 1981, on the 25th, Fran Tanana and Mark Clear combined to pitch for 15 Orioles hitters, striking them out, that is, the Orioles hitters, and walk just 3 and allow 3 extra base hits, none of them homers. And the Orioles win the game by the score of 7-2. So make sure you visit Jay Daniels and his fabulous 80sbaseball.com website for some more great news in baseball for the 25th there. And another great baseball website is This Day in Baseball. And boy, they have some dandies in place for the 25th of April, because we like to go and visit them, and we'll just grab a couple of them. Ken Williams hit 6 homers in 4 days on his way to becoming the first 30-30 man in 1922 on this day. Russ Sheriff Van Otta made his incredible debut with the New York Yankees in 1933. And Cliff Melton became the first rookie to fan at least 10 batters in his Major League debut, finishing with 13 strikeouts on April 25th, 1937. You can get a whole bunch more at thisdayinbaseball.com for the April 25th edition. We have a great link for you on jerseydispatch.com for our April 25th edition, and we'd love to have you visit them. I'm sure they would too. A great site and very informative. Another stop on our journey of April 25th is VintageHockeyJerseys.com website. April 25th, 1964, the Toronto Maple Leafs defeated the Detroit Red Wings 4-0 in Game 7 of the finals to give Toronto their third straight Stanley Cup title. Goalie Johnny Bower, wearing the number 1 sweater, became the first goaltender to record a shutout in Game 7 of the finals. And in 1975, on the 25th of April, the New York Islanders equaled the 1942 Toronto Maple Leafs record by defeating the Pittsburgh Penguins 1-0 in Game 7 of the quarterfinals to become the second team in history of the Stanley Cup playoffs to win a series after losing the first 3 games. Number 18, Ed Westfall, had the game's only goal, while rookie Glenn Resch, sporting the traditional keeper number 1 jersey, stopped 30 shots for the Islanders' first ever playoff shutout. Resch became the first goaltender to ever shut out a playoff opponent in the 7th game. And from NBA.com, we have some great basketball history, and they have a plethora there, NBA.com. And for this day, April 25th, we grabbed a couple that have some very famous players. Chicago's Michael Jordan, wearing number 23, of course, captured his 7th straight NBA scoring title, 32.6 points per game, tying number 13 Wilt Chamberlain's NBA record. Jordan also led the league in steals at 2.83 steals per game for the 3rd time in his career, becoming the 4th NBA player to collect 1,800 career thefts. And in 1993, on April 25th, Minnesota's number 24, Michael Williams, in a 113-111 victory over the Utah Jazz in the season finale, went 10 for 10 from the free throw line, allowing him to finish the 1992-93 season with an NBA record of 84 consecutive free throws made. Think about that for a second. From that charity stripe, Williams, who stretched his streak to 97 consecutive free throws early in the 93-94 season before missing, broke Calvin Murphy's record, who famously wore number 23 by the San Diego and Houston Rockets teams. He had the NBA record of 78 consecutive free throws, did Murphy, which had stood since the 1980-81 season. And that is some great history and some tremendous shooting by, guys that are making all those foul shots, and Michael Williams and Calvin Murphy and Michael Jordan. Wow, steals, points, you name it. That guy could do it all. That's why he is probably the greatest basketball player ever lived. And we thank you for joining us for this great sports history for April 25th. And join us for each and every day, because we love to bring the sports history to you. And till next time, everybody, have a great sports history day. This penalty kill is almost over. I got to get back out on the ice. But thanks again for joining us for another great edition of Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We'll see you tomorrow. We invite you to check out our websites, JerseyDispatch.com and PigskinDispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at SportsHistoryNetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at SportsHistoryNetwork.com.
Hi, this is Joe Ziemba, the host of When Football Was Football, here on the Sports History Network. I'm very pleased to announce that I will be partnering with the Sports History Network to give away 2 copies of my latest book called Bears vs. Cardinals, the NFL's Oldest Rivalry. To enter, just head over to the following link, sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. We hope you'll enjoy the numerous stories in the book, which is largely based on the newly released Dutch Sterneman collection at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dutch was the co-owner of the early Chicago Bears with George Halas and kept correspondence, financial records, and scouting reports, which now allow us to peek into the management of an NFL club during the first few years of the league's existence. Along the way, we'll meet unusual gridiron characters from years gone by, including a quarterback who could throw the ball farther behind his back than he could throwing it forward, a Bears lineman who was such a good tavern fighter that he decided to enter the boxing universe, and a Cardinals halfback who gave up the NFL rushing title by deciding to not show up for his team's final game of the season. And can we forget the time the Al Capone mob interrupted a Bears-Cardinals game? The new book was fun to research, and I hope you will enter our free contest today. Once the winners are selected, we'll be in touch regarding shipping as well as to inscribe the book personally for you. This might make a perfect gift for Mother's or Father's Day, or simply add it to your own personal collection. Once again, enter by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/giveaways. Thank you and good luck.